What is going on, guys? It's your boy Colby Evans here, aka Starting Park Car. I thought I would do a fun, different type of episode of Backmarker Battles today. Rather than do a live show, I figured we would just make a video out of it. Bob Pockris apparently tweeted out the NASCAR owner point transfers, so we're going to be talking about those today. I figured for some of the people who might not, be experienced with that, some Xfinity teams and truck teams, and even ARCA teams, it happens in some cases there too, will transfer points or buy points, to make sure that they can make the first couple races of the season. We will talk about the changes from Xfinity, some surprising ones, and some low-key leaked announcements in there as well. So, all right, so what we're going to start off with, of course, we're going to start off with the Truck Series 1. Now, I pulled up the Truck Series 1 right here on your screen. As you can see, it's pretty straightforward. A couple of changes that we will start off with at the very top. You can see that the number 23, obviously, GMS Racing has gone out of business, unfortunately. So their owner points were obviously going to be up for grabs. The number 23's points will be transferred over to number 43 of Daniel Dye. Of course, Daniel Dye moving from GMS Racing to the McAnally team. Pretty much, I would say the exact same combination. Might even be the exact same team, just a different team name. But so that's the first one. We have the Kyle Busch 51 truck. Those owner points will be transferred over to the number 7 Spire entry. And a leaked announcement, it looks like, as Sean Hingorani. Sean Hingorani is listed as along with KB in the 7 truck. So it looks like Sean Hingorani will be a part of the Spire Motorsports truck program. Now remember, if you do guys remember last year, he did drive the number 75 truck for Henderson Motorsports at Phoenix, which was a Chevrolet team. So this move is not surprising at all. Now, Sean Hingorani is obviously not everybody's cup of tea, and as you can already see by the reactions on Twitter, not exactly the most positive of reactions to this. But I don't know, maybe Sean will shape up, but I don't know. With what we've seen, with what we saw last year in ARCA, I'm not really sure about that. But yeah, it looks like KB will continue his 5 allotted truck races that he is allowed to run. However, this time he will be driving the number 7 for Spire Motorsports, which I tell you, man, that's really going to take some getting used to. I mean, it was weird enough seeing Kyle run the 4 back when he ran the 4 for his KBM team. I mean, just seeing Kyle Busch run a truck race, not in the number 51, even when he ran number 18, he hadn't run he hadn't kind of went off and on with number 18 and 51, but I always just remember him in the 51. I don't remember him in the 18 as much, and I hardly remember him in the 4. So seeing him in the 7, especially for a different organization, it's going to take a lot to get used to, as we know, unfortunately, KBM is no longer, and it's been absorbed by Spire Motorsports. But low-key a leaked announcement right there by Bob Pockris that Sean Hingorani, at least on a part-time basis, will be driving the number 7 for Spire. Speaking of Spire Motorsports, the number 4 for KBM, those owner points will go to the number 77 Spire entry, which of course has been previously announced to be driven by Chase Purdy. So locking those trucks will be fine. Spire's Motorsports, the number 7 truck, going back to that for one quick second, does indicate that truck will more than likely be full-time. Kyle, at minimum, will probably run his 5 truck races. Sean Hingorani, by my account, he did run the Daytona test. So, he'll probably run the majority of the schedules. Corey LaJoie, I think he was announced to drive, I think the 7 truck at Daytona again. So I believe that truck will be full-time. We'll just, again, have to see more in the coming weeks. The next one is another McAnally truck, the number 18. Simply just a number swap, no real team differences. The number 35 points that Jake Garcia had last year in 14th will be transferred over to the new 18 team of Tyler Ankrum. So for Tyler Ankrum, it's just a number swap, no real difference there. Hopefully Tyler Ankrum does well at his new home at McAnally, because the last couple years of him driving for Hattori really didn't net anything realistic. I mean, ever since you could say his win at Kentucky, Tyler Ankrum hasn't felt the same. So hopefully this team's a revamp for his career, because I like Tyler Ankrum. He's a good, in my opinion, he's one of those good drivers out there. Another GMS points transfer, the number 24 The number 24 truck, that points will go to the number 91 entry, the third or fourth full-time entry. I'm not sure how many trucks McAnally's running. I think, what, the 43, the 18, the 19, and the 91, right? Is that, I believe that is correct. Yeah, the 19, yeah, so that's 4 trucks. The 91 will run, I do believe, full-time with Jack Wood. 14 races for Jack Wood, and they'll probably fill out the other ones. Zane Smith was actually spotted at their open house. I believe they had some sort of open house media party, and Zane Smith was spotted there. So potentially we could see Zane Smith driving that 91 truck for a couple of races. But they will inherit the number 24 truck points, putting them 18th in the points for the first 3 races. Next place in 19th place will now be the number 33 truck, which will be driven by Lawless Allen. Lawless Allen moves from Nice Motorsports from a couple years stint. Really, again, didn't net the most positive of results. Even a couple of DNQs last year. He will move over to Rayom Brothers Racing. They have acquired the points of Hattori Racing, with Hattori Racing losing Tyler Ankrum and the sponsorship that Tyler brought. It's kind of put into question what Hattori Racing is going to do this year. Obviously, selling their owner points is not the best sign, but you know, what are you going to do? At the end of the day, Hattori Racing nearly shut down in 2018. So the fact that they made it all the way to 2023, kind of a miracle. But hopefully they can find something, because we all like Shiga Hattori. He's one of those good, feel-good truck teams in the garage, for sure. But big pickup for Rayom. Obviously, Alon brings a good check, good sponsorship dollars for a team that really, really does need it. Hopefully they can get the program back on track last year after, obviously, we know the shop fire that really kind of destroyed a lot of the good equipment that Josh Rayom's team had. So hopefully Lawless and the team can bring some good results, but they're definitely going to be guaranteed to Daytona, at least. We don't know how good they will be past Daytona, of course, with the owner points, but we know they're guaranteed at least for a couple of races, as they will be sitting 19th in the points. The other GMS points, the number 43, went to the brand new team, Freedom Smoke. I don't know exactly. Freedom Racing. It's a brain fart right here on the team. Spencer Boyd will be driving the number 76. His old Freedom Racing Enterprises. That's the team. He co-owns it with Chris Miller. Yeah. So he'll be driving the number 76 truck. His old number from his Xfinity days with Bobby Dotter, so it's a slight reunion there. And this team, pretty good equipment, arguably the best equipment that Spencer's ever been in. So, you know, for a lot of the criticism that Spencer Boyd has gotten over the years, even from myself, I would say there's really no excuse not to perform this year. It's clear that they got the money to go racing. They got GMS trucks, GMS Ilmore motors, probably the best Ilmores you could get your hands on. So there's really, in my opinion, no excuse for this team not to perform. But they definitely have a guarantee, again, for at least the first 3 races. They will be 21st in owners' points coming into Daytona. So pretty much everybody that I've already listed so far, I would say is a lock. I would say pretty much everybody so far is a lock. Scrolling all the way down to 26th place, the 45 truck from Nice. Their points will go to the new 46 Faction 4016 with Thad Moffitt. That'll be running full-time. Now, that 46 truck is a Nice affiliate, so it kind of makes sense. The points transfer, The points transfer kind of makes sense. Obviously, with Faction 46 taking over the reins. I still wonder if the 45 truck will even show up this year. I could see it being a part-time truck, but I'm not sure if it is going to be full-time. And if they are, hopefully they have a good enough motor. Because remember, guys, the 45 truck failed to make the Daytona race last year. 26th, I would say that puts them maybe okay for Daytona. But I think they're going to be safe with that. But obviously, again, another team just like the 76, just like the 33, they have to use this opportunity to build points, because I do see teams like the 33, the 76, and I'll even throw in the 46, struggling, not necessarily to make races, but just struggling in the races, due to, Thad. Although Thad has been around for a long time, he's never really run full-time. So he genuinely does not have that much experience on a lot of these tracks. He does, but he really also doesn't. But yeah, so I wish them the best. I'm sure they'll be fine, but I wish them the best. Then we have an interesting one right here. Spire Motorsports down in 29th. Obviously, they didn't run a full-time truck, but their number 7 points will be switched over to the number 71 TBA. Should be added. Now, could this be Spire Motorsports' third truck team? That's never really been that hasn't been 100% confirmed. I would imagine so. I don't know who else would run 71. And plus, Spire runs 71 in Cup anyway. And, you know, a lot of people are questioning, where's Raja Karuth going to go? Because, I mean, we're only a couple weeks out from Daytona, literally a couple weeks. And Raja has not announced anything in terms of his 2024 plans. I would imagine this would be a good fit. This would be probably a good fit for Raja. Because, like I said, I have no idea where he goes. Yeah, everyone's pretty much taken. So my guess is Raja is going to drive this 71 truck. And if he doesn't drive this 71 truck, I don't know what Raja does this year. So, man, you talk about expansions for Spire Motorsports, man. What? He said, 2 or 3 full-time Cup cars now? And potentially 3 full-time trucks? You got to respect Spire Motorsports, man, for definitely putting more into their NASCAR program for sure. And then, of course, AM Racing, the number 22 truck. Josh Rayom looks like he will take over the ranks of that team and the number, and those owner points have been transferred to him. Same number, but I wouldn't guarantee that 100% for Daytona. 30th place, that's kind of borderline. Actually, never mind. I just remembered off the top of my head, the top 31 are locked into Daytona. Duh. I just remembered that off the top of my head. If I'm correct, the top 31 are locked into Daytona, so that would mean the 22 is locked in. And then the 27, yes, Rayom looks like he is switching to a new number this year. It'll be number 27. I believe all 3 trucks will be full-time. Keith McGee will be driving the number 27 at Daytona. That was recently just announced, like within the last couple hours. They will take over the points in 31st from On Point Motorsports. Now, On Point Motorsports, they unfortunately were part-time last year. They ran the majority of the schedule, but were part-time. They sold a lot of their equipment in the last year. They still got a little bit left. If they do have sponsorship, they will show up more than likely. But I would say to me, it's unlikely. You know, like I said, the sponsorship game is not easy right now. So I wish them the best. But it looks like it's big-time Rayon, man. 3 trucks guaranteed for the first 3 races. We'll see how they are starting in race 4. But wish nothing but the best for Josh. He's a hard-working man. I love talking to him in the garage. I have a couple of friends who work on the RBR team. So, again, I wish them all the best. And that is pretty much it for the Truck Series changes. Probably the biggest ones right here are Sean Hingorani getting spoiled to drive the number 7 Spire entry. And it looks like Spire will be running a 3rd full-time truck. We just got to wait for those full-time announcements. So yeah, those are the Truck Series owner points. And now we transfer over to the Xfinity owner points, where there is a lot of changes. Obviously, a lot of changes. Xfinity is expected to be probably one of the most competitive Xfinity seasons we've ever had. So many new teams, so many new drivers. You gotta love it. Starting with the first change we have is the Colleague Racing 10 car. Now, those points will be switched over to the number 16 for AJ Allmendinger as AJ makes his return to the series. The interesting thing about this is that Shane Van Gisbergen, I'm probably going to botch his name, I apologize in advance. Shane Van Gisbergen, hopefully I pronounced that correct. If I didn't, sorry. He will be taking over the original number 16 points, and Josh Williams' number 11 points will stay the same. So that does mean it looks like that Daniel Dye and the number 10 for Daytona will have to, I believe, get in on time. Now, that shouldn't be a problem, obviously, as you know, Colleague has a very good motor program. The car will be easily fast enough, but you never know. Because, you know, the real ones, remember, not 1, but 2 Colleague cars failing to miss the Xfinity race at Daytona in 2020. Not because of rain, but because something with the brakes were locked on, and AJ missed the race, and Chastain missed the race, and had to go get a ride from RSS. For the real ones who remember that, so there's no guarantee here, man. You never know what could happen in actually not even a 2-lap qualifying run, a 1-lap qualifying run. So, yeah, definitely some slight nerves, I would say, for the 10 team for sure. But yeah, we already went through the 16, then the 97. Good to see the number 81 back. I love that number. Always been one of my favorite racing numbers. They are transferring owner points from the 19 Joe Gibbs entry to the 81 Joe Gibbs entry for Chandler Smith. Forgot to point out the number 16 of Allmendinger will then be 7th. The number 97 of Van Gisberen will be 9th. And the 81 of Chandler Smith now will be 10th. Jordan Anderson, he is transferring the number 27 points over to a 32 car. Not sure if this means that he's going to go full-time with 3 cars, but it looks like Anderson, I might imagine he would probably run Daytona for himself or the truck race for himself, but it looks like right now the number 32 Anderson entry, Now we know, I do believe Jeb Burton is returning for another year. Jeb Burton is returning for another year. The 31, is Parker back in the 31 again? Yes, so it is Jeb and Parker again. But obviously with them putting the 32 points this high up, I mean, the 32 car will be 12th. 12th in points. So, I don't know what that means for the 27, unless I'm just getting my points wrong here, and maybe someone could explain in the chat, or maybe they're changing a number. But yeah, I don't know exactly what the point of this is. But I can you guys see I'm a little confused here? So, is Anderson running 3 full-time cars? Or is one of the Anderson cars just not going to have owner points behind them? I mean, theoretically, it's kind of the same situation as the 10. I mean, the car would be fine. It's not like they would necessarily have to worry about making the show. They're obviously going to have plenty of speed with their motor program. You know, it's not like it's a big deal if they go in there with no owner points. It's just, I think the only problem would be is if it rains out. You know, like then the 10 car goes home, or then maybe one of the other Anderson cars goes home. Because right now, yeah, looking at the bottom, I've just looked at the bottom. Number 27 of Burton will have 22 cars points from last year, which will put him 46th. So that's a lot. I mean, it's not necessarily a lot of pressure or issues for Burton, but they got to make sure it doesn't rain out. That's for sure. And that's also going to be pressure for Burton for race number 2 and race number 3. Because remember, guys, this takes you through the first 3 races of the season. So that puts the 32. If that's the case, then it looks like the 32 is going to be more than likely full-time. Because this move would make no sense whatsoever if the 32 is not full-time. So maybe 3 full-time teams for Jordan Anderson. Other than that, I don't see how this move makes much sense. But I like Jordan Anderson Racing. It's a good team. You know, one of the good stories in racing is Jordan Anderson, so hopefully they have it all figured out. The next one down is in 17th place. Obviously, the AM Racing switch, which we kind of all predicted. Deegan will take over the number 25 points from last year, so she'll be more than ready, locked in. Down to 22nd place, the RSS 28 points will go to the new 29 team. Well, not necessarily new, because they ran the 29 last year, but Blaine Perkins will be running the number 29 full-time, and he will have points from the 28, which will start him 22nd for the first 3 races. Obviously, there has been a split with Emmerling Gase Motorsports. Patrick Emmerling has gone over to drive the number 07 in a combination. I believe I think it is a combination effort. It's just under SS Greenlight Racing, but Patrick is running under his own operations now in ARCA as well. We're running their own ARCA program there. And Joey Gase Racing is now Joey Gase Racing, and they will be running the number 35. And good for Joey, though. They have acquired the number 24 points for Sam Hunt Racing. Now, does this mean the 24 will not show up at all this year? Probably not. I think the 24 will still show up at a couple of races. But, yeah, maybe it wasn't the best move for Sam Hunt to go 2 full-time cars. I think 1 full-time car for Sam Hunt is definitely better. Definitely better for everyone. And for the team, too. I think it's just better for them to focus on 1 car. Full-time, at least. But for the Joey Gase team, they'll be 25th starting out the season. Some small shakeups at Alpha Prime. The number 45 points, that finished 27th. will go to the number 43 of Ryan Ellis for the season. The number 43 points will go to the number 44 for Brennan Poole this season. JD Motorsports has switched their car number points too, from the number 4 points. The number 6 points, The number 6 points will go to the number 4 of Dawson Cram. The number 38 RSS points. This is all in order, by the way, from 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th. This is all going to be in order. So, yeah, I should say 30th in points will now be the number 28 team for Kyle Sieg, who's running full-time. They are taking over the 38 points from last year. This one is a little bit interesting. SS Greenlight Racing's number 08 points from last year, which was 31st, will now be for a 14 team. And this is a little bit interesting, and I'm glad Bob Pockris answered this in the chat. Looks like the 14 will be, I don't know if it is going to be full-time. It might be all listed under SS Greenlight Racing, but I've heard some people say that the 14 might be run by Call League this year, because they have run 14 in the past. But it looks like a couple of part-time teams, from what Bob Pockris said, will be running the 14 at Daytona, and a couple of other part-time teams could be running the 14 this year, including, I guess, maybe SS Greenlight Racing themselves. So, 14 team is going to be one of those weird teams to look out for sure. And then Emmerling Gase Motorsports, obviously, the 35 points will be transferred over to the 07, which will be Emmerling, over at the new SS Greenlight Racing partnership. The JD Motorsports 4 points have been switched over to the 6 car. Now, that is a TBA on that. Whether the 6 car does even show up this year, I'm not sure. Hopefully so. JD Motorsports did not exactly have the best 2023. Brennan Poole did in my opinion, did a great job. But the 4 team, it was just a struggle, man. They just couldn't build any momentum on that side. So I'm not sure if we'll see the 6 at Daytona. I'm not sure if we will. But either way, they will have the points from the number 4. And that was 34th. So realistically, like 33rd, 34th, and 35th in the points. Not exactly the best points right there to really work with. And then Alpha Prime, number 44, that has been purchased by the number 38 for RSS. Now, I don't know exactly who's going to be in the 38 car this year. Who's actually going to be in the 38 car. Have they announced that? Because we know Kyle Sieg's in the 28. We know Blaine Perkins is in the 29. No, okay, so just those 3 cars. So it looks like the 38 will be part-time, but more than likely will be at Daytona, at least. But they will be 35th in points. And other than Jeb Burton down in 46, that is pretty much the remainder of the points from 2023 that'll carry over to 2024. Now, just keep in mind, this does start for the first 3 races of the season, not Daytona only. And the biggest thing for the Xfinity Series right now is the top 30 7K bonus. Obviously, like we followed last year in Backmarker Battles, the top 30 teams get a 7K bonus. Now, it does go higher for each team. Like I think like the top 26 get a little bit more, than the top 22 get a little bit more. But for the bottom teams, like 27 through 30th, it's $7,000. So for RSS Racing, they're that benchmark right now for a lot of teams. It looks like I did miss one. Our Motorsports Anthony Alfredo will be 32nd, transferring from the 02 to the 5. So forgot to mention that one as well. But yeah, for obviously the top 30 Xfinity bonus. So a lot of the teams that have bought points into the top 30 are already guaranteeing themselves an extra $21,000. So that's pretty good for their organizations. But it's definitely going to be interesting for sure, man. Definitely going to be interesting for sure how these owner point transfers work out for Daytona, and will it mean these guys make the race? More than likely. But how will it feature after race 4 when we start using the 2024 points? Well, that just remains to be seen. So hope you guys enjoyed this little talk session about the 2024 Xfinity and truck owner point transfers. I have been Colby Evans, and I hope you've enjoyed this non-live episode of Backmarker Battles. Take care, have a good rest of your night, and I'll see you guys the next time I see you. Take care. Bye-bye.